and welcome to another round from the driver's room. I am your host Flapjack for this race this evening, and this is round 6 of Tier 2 of Season 3 for the Direct Championship. So just going through the grids, on pole we have Awesome Alex, and he's on Racing Super Sauce. He is third in the championship and hoping to get a win today in the GTR. Our dominant leader this year, Adventure Racing, James, is on P2. He is also using the Racing Super Sauce as well. In third place is munginho. He has decided to go for the Racing Softs and he's in the Lexus. Then we have Canny starting in 4th place. He is 10th in the championship, so this is a good qualifying for him. Hopefully he's going to perform well in the race as well. Starting just behind him is Murkoff, and Murkoff's in GTR. Murkoff's also running Racing Sauce for this race. Mr. Shaun is starting just behind, and he is on Racing Sauce in the Lexus. And he's in 2nd in the championship, so he'll be hoping to get a move up the grids to where he's battling with. It's Jules who's starting in the Lexus, and he is on Racing Softs with Racing Super Sauce on the back. Then we have Jason, 11th in the championship, and he's using the Racing Softs. Next on the grids is JC in the Nissan, and he is on, I believe, Racing Super Sauce. And then we have Berkey in the Made for Racing Junior car. He is on Racing Super Sauce for this race. Next on the grid we have Rocker, and he has Racing Soft Tyres. Then we have jammyD starting near the back of the grids. He's sitting 13th in the championship, so still looking to start to get a few good results. AGT Racer is next on the grid. Great live streamer who, well, commentator as well, who has a lot of content from Driver's Room. Then we have Craig at the back of the grid, and that just completes the grid for today's race. I'll join you for the start. So we're getting ready for the start of the race. In the round 6, GRT cars about to set off very quickly down the turn 1. And it's James that gets a good start from P2. Championship leaders back up into the lead. Sometimes hard to see when there's so many cars about, but that looks like Jules just off to the left. All being very polite into turn 2. And from about 5th back, from about 3rd back to 10th or so is pretty much side by side at the minute. And there's our leader James, and closely followed by Alex, coming on to the main straight now. Mulsanne straight. So it's Adventure Racing who has the early lead over Awesome Alex, our pole sitter, in the Nissan. And then it's munginho in the Lexus, so 3 different manufacturers in the top 3. Then we have Canny in 4th, Shaun in 5th, Berkey sitting in 6th, Jason followed by Rocker, and 5 cars coming into the first chicane, Mulsanne Straight at the minute. JC is coming out there first. Then you have AGT Racer in 10th. Jules is recovering from his incident on the first corner, he's up to 11th. And Craig is just at the back, waiting for any opportunities to arise. So we have Berkey starting to get a bit closer to Mr. Shaun. There's a lot of action for these drivers at the back of the grid so far, as Craig moves up in the 13th place. JC's incident In the second chicane drops him back to last. Interestingly, at the back of the grids, it's all Nissans of different varieties, and Jimmy decides to conservatively drop in there. So back up with our leader. He's starting to probably about a 2-second advantage over Awesome Alex in second. And Gino's now coming under pressure from Canny. Will Canny make the move, or will he decide to feel safe? It's a very difficult choice in the surf races, especially our long races. So he's deciding to wait. Berkey's been going for a move in a few laps against Shaun. He's just going to have to settle this lap. And still there's battling going on between these GTRs. I've actually missed out on Jules falling back into that pack, so Indianapolis he may have went a bit too deep, I imagine, and dropped back, and he separates JC from Craig. Craig's now up to 12th place when he's just a few positions away from the points. We're just up the road from him. As our leader Adventure Racing comes into the final chicanes. It's a good run. And we can see in the TV we've got Alex coming out of the chicane now. Gino's got quite a distance to catch up to Alex after lap 1. James is even further away from Alex. Looks like Canny is struggling to stay with Gino. And Berkey getting very close. As we see JC has moved up. He was behind Craig. Grimlocks must have had an issue. Alex allowed Murkoff and Craig free. Craig's done a few... Quite amazing this, because only a lap ago it was the two drivers in front of Craig that were behind him, and the two drivers behind him were in front, and they've just swapped around. Not sure if they meant to do that, but it's a battle for these three for 12th place at the minute. Hopefully trying to keep it on the track. Berkey a wee bit compromised for the chicane. Will Jason be able to get the move done before the end of the straight? Do you see Canny getting an overtake done on Gino? Seems to have picked up a bit of penalties, Canny, so he'll be hoping to prevent that in the longer stints in this race. This means Gino's still putting Canny under pressure. This is dropping them back towards Shaun, who's being put under pressure, has been for the last lap by Berkey. Very long lap here at Le Mans. Jammy's now coming under pressure from Jules. Those two drivers in the final point scoring positions. JC in 11th, 12th's Craig, Murkoff and AGT Racer in last place. Now, I don't think James has pulled away too much from Alex, so there might still be a chance he may take a win from him. I believe James has won most of the races this season. Getting his car choice right, also a very quick driver as well. Proving he has what it takes. Hopefully make it into tier 1. Should do it at this stage. As Jason watches Gino falling further back through this pack of cars. He's not going to get the position off him just today though. So Mr. Shaun's up in the 4th place. He's escaped Berkey. But Berkey's also dispatched of Mangino, so he's up into a top 5 spot. So we see Berkey coming in very hot there into that corner. And Gino's behind him and he wants to make sure that he doesn't fall to any incidents. Looks like Gino might have a run here on Shaun. Or Berkey. He goes, putting him under a lot of pressure, trying to make him go deep on the brakes in the turn one, but Berkey holds on, doesn't fall to the pressure. So see Jammy looked like he was going for a move there on Jason, but maybe just a bit of oversteer at the end of the last corner there. AGT Racer looking to find a bit of consistency, a bit of pace so he can catch the drivers ahead. Craig's hoping to hopefully catch up to Jammy and Jason. So we see JC just capitalising on Jules, who's had a mistake there. He's gone off. So I think Gino might just want to wait with Berkey as they both seem to be catching up to Mr. Shaun. Let's see how this pans out. This is an hour-long race, so there will be many pit stops and many opportunities for a grid shake-up in those pit stops. Let's have a look here to see what everyone's fuel's like at this stage. Seems when Gino's being the most efficient with his fuel usage. He did qualify well in third place. He's dropped back to 6th, but as you can see, he's got a lot more fuel than Canny would. So that may come back to him later in the race. Interestingly enough, Alex is holding on to his tyres. They look almost brand new at the end of lap 3. Well, not quite the end of lap 3, but James has definitely worn out his left-hand tyres a bit more than Alex has. Let's also see a lot more fuel in Alex's car as well, so this battle isn't over yet. Alex is definitely going to have a few advantages over James when it comes to the pit stops. So then we have Canny closely followed by Shaun, Berkey and Gino, Rocker. And just jump back and see if there's been any more shake-ups near the back. Seems Jules hasn't fallen back just as far as some of the other cars with his incident. As long as he doesn't have any more, he should be okay for this one. Have Jammy and Murkoff and Craig in 13th. Craig may have had an issue or two in the chicanes or the corner at the end of this Mills-on Straight. He has fallen quite far back towards where Grimlock is. Be hoping to move forwards rather than backwards as this race goes on. Craig is another commentator in the series as he does some donuts for us in the final corner. Nope, no donuts today. Patiently just gets back on track. But yes, as I said, he's been doing commentaries for many of the series that we do. He's a great commentator, does great work, and same applies to AGT Racer. So you can check out Craig's channel and AGT Racer as well, AGT Grimlock, as he just takes turns with Craig, battling for last place. Both of them seem to really want it, but don't know if they can decide who's going to get it. There's probably about 10 seconds up the road. We have Jason, Murkoff and Jammy all consistently in their wee spots. Rucker's been holding the 6th place pretty well. He's quite far ahead of JC. Just say JC coming into that sequence of corners that Rucker just left. So if he holds on to this, he'll make some good gains in the table. And 13th in the table at the minute, so he's in a good spot to get a lot of points for himself. So just see an incident there between Murkoff and Jammy. That means Jammy's moved up in the 10th place, Murkoff has gone off, and both these drivers have about 3 seconds of penalty, so they'll have to think about that. Now 4 seconds for Murkoff. I think Jason will be able to get the move done here. Has Berkey fallen behind JC? I believe Berkey has fallen back behind Rocker, back behind JC. Must have had quite a significant crash. Can see that Jason has got that move done on Murkoff, so he's now up into 11th place. Murkoff is thinking about a move though. Seems like the battle for 7th is heating up quite a bit. It was 7th that Rocker had for a while, but Berkey, as I said, has fallen back behind JC, behind Rocker. It's down in 7th place. Apologies if I don't get all of the incidents and major moments in this race, but I'll try my best. We have Mr. Shaun going for the overtake for 3rd place, getting it off Canny. He's made that move into Indianapolis and has got up into podium spots. Various fast drivers had some great performances, particularly good in the GR3 class for the A-Deck and Drag series. But he's managed to get into podium in GR2, not one of his better classes, so a good result for Mr. Shaun. He's a driver who could probably get a race win or two in this series in a more preferred class, but he's doing well to get in the 3rd today. I'm sure he'll be happy with that. Canny is having a great race. He won't want that to happen though. He'll want that podium position. Gino and Rocker are looking to just Gino's looking for maybe to jump the 2 drivers in the pits. He's got significantly more fuel. We've got JC and Berkey and Jules. Jules really putting Berkey under a lot of pressure for this sequence of corners. I feel like Craig's got a wee bit of damage there, so he might have just gone to the wall. He's gotten a wee bit lost and has to reverse back, so this stint hasn't been the cleanest for Craig. As you can tell, he's quite far back from Grim. He's further back from the back of the pack. Murkoff and Jason having their good old battle. Just looks like he's winning out though. Jules just unable to hold with Berkey's pace. Berkey obviously doing a very good job considering the incident he had earlier that dropped him back maybe about 10 seconds or so, I imagine. These 3 drivers here, the top 2, having their different tactics. James is shifting at about 75%, Alex at about 50%, so it's giving them an extra, must be an extra 15% of fuel with 60 minutes gone. It'll be interesting to see what happens when James has to take on that extra fuel. Alex will have to be wary of getting his fuel amount right, not overfueling, not underfueling, to gain the optimal advantage here. But the 2 of them are separated by about 6 seconds at this stage. I mean, if you really get the fuel advantage over someone, it can be worth up to 9 seconds. I've seen it work before, so it's not impossible for Alex to become an inherent leader of this race. Yeah, you can see James really revving out in 6th gear, trying to get as much power as he can. Don't think Alex is going to fall back as far as Shaun, so he's happy enough to just fuel save here. Just see what times Alex is doing compared to James. Well, he's a wee bit slower this lap. Maybe he'll make it up in the last sector. So see, Canny has gone off the track. He has fallen from 3rd back to 5th this lap, and it has been a very bad lap for him. Maybe go, I think, about going into pits, because I think those tyres are past their best at this stage. There are only 5 laps into this race, but it is one of the longest laps in the game. Not that long for these two who are doing it in 3:38s. James on the second lap. Now James has decided to go into for the pits. What is Alex going to do? He's got better tyres, he can definitely go for a lap longer. He's decided to do that. So we'll see if they come out together, because James is just going to be getting tyres. His tyres going on now. Shaun now coming out of the last corner. Alex just coming out. Shaun's now coming free, and he will get up in the 2nd place. If those racing sauce, when James has just need to change his tyres, it's quite amazing that Mr. Shaun has done so well. James has also taken on fuel, so he now has more fuel than Alex. If we have a look at the timing, we've probably got about 9 seconds back to James. Alex will be able to make these tyres go a lap longer, so James will have Shaun's slipstream. We also have fresher tyres. Maybe not at the end of the Molson straight, actually maybe, because he's in the slipstream. And he'll definitely want to be using his fuel to try and get past Shaun. So yep, it seems a very early stop there for Adventure Racing, and I believe Canny might have stopped because he's dropped quite far back behind Rocker. So yep, fresh tyres, some fuel maybe. So he is going to look to be chasing down Shaun at the best, hopefully munginho with this undercut. If I'm putting in more fuel, he's done what Adventure Racing has done, and just look to take fuel throughout the race. So Alex, now our leader of the race, is coming down the straight heading towards Indianapolis. Craig just exiting the pits. He's got himself some fresh tyres, so less mistakes hopefully for Craig as he looks to travel up the race in pack. It's Jammy who's now in 12th place. So Jammy's had an okay race. We have lost Grimlock in this race. Didn't notice that happening, but while the leaders were pitting, I imagine he might have run into a disconnect issue. So we find ourselves a battle here for 8th place between Jules, Jason, Berkey and Murkoff. Just go jump through to the top of the field in case, we see Rocker has had an issue. So Canny isn't able to catch up with Rocker, but Rocker will be pitting hopefully maybe at the end of this lap, and that will promote Canny in the 6th place. Maybe put JC in with a chance of getting a position off Rocker. So Rocker was having a very good stint, but he just seems to have pushed it a lap or two too long in those tyres, and there's quite a comfortable position falling away from him. So now we see Alex going into the pits. James managed to get past Mr. Shaun. I can only imagine James is going to come out ahead of Alex, but he put on fuel. I don't know if Alex is. Alex has decided to take on just a wee bit of fuel, just a splash of fuel, and he's on his way. Interestingly enough, a lot of drivers seem to be taking on small amounts of fuel when they're making their pit stops. So you see Mr. Shaun has a lot less fuel than Alex, so that's why he's a few seconds down the road. He has done amazingly with his tyre wear in this race, though. He has made those softs last an extremely long amount of time at 7 laps, and I mean, I could say he could go for one more lap on those tyres. He might not, but that would make this into almost a one-stop race, and that would be crazy if he were able to pull that off. Driver is very famous for his good use in tyres. So Mungino's got Rocker to worry about now. Rocker's come out of the pits. I imagine he would pit, and he's now in 7th place, hoping to gain an advantage over Mungino. Interestingly enough, Jules has escaped the battle for 9th place. Murkoff's dropped back into a battle with Jason for 10th. Jammy and Craig quite a ways back. Jammy has a lot of fuel. So does Jason. It's an awful lot of fuel for Jason. He's obviously put all of his fuel in at the pit stop. Interesting strategy. So he tries to get a move done on Murkoff, does so, but overshoots the chicane, and Murkoff's allowed to go back free into 10th place to get that one championship point. And Gino trying to close down Jules, as we can see Mungino was up with these two. So an issue for Mungino there, and he has a bit of catching up to do after incidents into the corner there. A spin the chicane on the Mulsanne straights. So on lap 7 of 25, just coming on to lap 8 soon, we have James leading from Mr. Shaun, and awesome Alex in 3rd place. Canny's in 4th place now, so he had an issue, but other drivers had issues, and that has allowed him back up into 4th place. But Mr. Shaun is pitting now, and Canny will be hoping that gets him up a position for now. He took on a little bit of fuel in that pit stop, so Shaun will probably do the same. Naturally, that allows Alex up in the 2nd place again. Now, James is quite a ways ahead of Alex, so 9-second advantage over Alex. Back having a look at the fuel, we can see it's more even between the two drivers now, so very interesting. On lap 6, Alex did a 3:54, James did a 3:55. I suppose Alex has brand new tyres, so he has an advantage there, and he should be able to close down the time there, but went from having a lot more fuel, only 6 seconds back, to being about 10 seconds back, and now James has slightly more fuel. Interesting battle. No obvious mistake from Alex with his lap times. I did drop 2 seconds because the outlap for James was a 3:34, outlap for Alex was a 3:36. So his pace out of the pits hasn't been the same. Now Kenny has managed to get ahead of Shaun, but Shaun will take that position back. Has enough lot more fuel. Possibly going to the end. We'll see how this goes. If he can make his tyres last much longer, he should be able to make it to the end of this race. Possibly. Line through that Indianapolis corner. His car looks much more aggressive on the turn-in. Interestingly, Jimmy James' advantage has kind of plateaued a bit against these drivers. He did have a leg up over them, but that has since disappeared a wee bit. So Jules and Rocker getting very competitive into the Porsche curbs. Berkey might be able to capitalise. He's not going to go for a move just yet, but he might take that position as Jules ran wide in that corner, but I think Berkey might have nudged them to do that, so Jules now goes into the pits. Berkey moves up. Munginho is now putting Berkey under some pressure, so he's had a busy race, Berkey. A lot of battling with different drivers today. As you can see, Mr. Shaun's starting to reel Kenny in a wee bit. The lap times are that way for Shaun because he has not used any of his tyres since coming out of the pits. They're brand new. Still have the sticky plastic on them. Somehow he manages to prevent using the tyres very well around here. Must just be floating above the racetrack. So Adventure Racing is just on 3:36 on his worn tyres. He's got 11-second advantage over Alex, so I think this might be another win for our championship leader. He's won, I think, every race so far this season. Alex at the start of this race did look like he was setting his car up for a better run than James, but with a few issues, he has fallen back a wee bit. Had a bad lap in lap 4 or 5 towards the end of his tyre stint, so I think this NSX might hold on to his tyres better than the Nissan. Berkey's managed to escape Munginho's pressure. Jules hasn't been able to close on Jason, so Jason seems to have a good turn of pace here on the Racing Super Sauce. Not too worn yet, maybe a lap in this lap, maybe the next lap he might think about pitting, but his left-hand side tyres are only about 15 to 20% worn, and that's not too bad. So Berkey has now got a chance to get a top 5 spot off Rocker here. We've seen earlier in the race, drivers with more fuel haven't always come out on top, but Berkey has more fuel than Rocker here, so might be able to get a position. It just comes through Indianapolis as Adventure Racing is thinking about heading down to the Porsche curbs. They'll be pitting maybe the end of this lap, maybe the next lap. So just to see the live timings just in a moment. So see Rocker managed to get some slipstream off Canny there and escape Berkey. But it's 10 seconds now, that gap. Alex won't be pitting this lap, James will be. So it's not impossible, but 12 seconds is quite a big gap at that stage. See a bit of contact there. I imagine Berkey might feel like he could capitalise off this. He's looking for a move, but not able to get the move done. So we see James's pit stop. It's just happening now. Alex going on to lap 12. I think Alex might be pitting at the end of this lap. Its advantage is 12 seconds over James. That's 12 seconds. And Alex will be in the pit at the end of this lap, or the next lap. I believe he can make his tyres last to the next lap if he pushes it. Shaun in no man's land in third place. There isn't much reason to think he could lose that third place, isn't much reason to think he could get second place, so looks like Mr. Shaun is the first driver to get his position. Third. Berkey is unable to get past Munginho here, but he might be able to get him with the run down the straights into the next chicane. Should be able to, because he's right on his bumper. Will he be able to go for the move? Gets himself alongside. Wants to go like under the brakes. Gets his car in a great position. Very hard for Munginho to move around Berkey in this next corner, and we come down the brakes. And it's a clean move. Berkey moves up into 5th place. Munginho being a bit compromised and doing a Leclerc there, getting back around to try to chase down Berkey there after that mistake. So Munginho's about a second or so over JC. So JC, he definitely has a car that looks like it might be going to the end, and he looks like he'll get 6th off Munginho. Not too sure about Berkey because he's a wee ways up the road. Canny in 4th place. So run through the lag spike there. So get back to Jammy. And I'll have a wee look at Rocker's point of view of this battle ahead, battle between Jules and Jason. I think Jules might finally get the move done here. He does, as Jason goes off onto the gravel trap today. So Rocker, quite unlucky to be back in 9th, but there will be drivers ahead that need to pit. And speaking of pits, we see Alex going into pits, so I imagine James should be comfortably ahead of Alex, but we'll see how it goes. Did he have a good out lap? I think he had a comfortable enough out lap. I think that's him if his car is set up to the end of the race. Alex comes out of the pits with fresh tyres and some fuel. But that distance of about 14 seconds now is too much to overcome. He will probably be having to settle for second place today. Mr. Shaun is 26 seconds ahead of Canny, so I don't see any way Canny can close that up. Berkey dives down into pits, and Gino will do the same. And JC moves past, and he will pick up 5th place at the very least. He'll have to defend from Gino and Berkey towards the end of this stint, but he has got himself a top 5 spot so far, which is very good. Let's say it's a 25 lap race. The race time is an hour and 4 minutes. So I'm not too sure if they had a longer race for this stage. But we'll see what results we can see by the end of it. I can update you from the championship standings after the race. So far, James will be extending his advantage over second place Shaun if the results stay this way. I don't see Alex being able to catch James on this particular layout with these particular cars. Definitely feel like the NSX has been a better choice for this class in the previous seasons. Mr. Shaun has an incident. Not a major one, no. Might pit just to be a wee bit conservative to make it to the end of this. He decides to do that. Amazingly consistent laps. Since lap 9 to lap 12 he was doing 340, all within 4/10. Amazingly long lap to be so consistent. I would have been on worn tyres too for him. Puts new tyres on, gets a bit of fuel in, and he'll be on his way. I think Andy might actually be able to get the position here. Just about. So we have a battle on here for 3rd place between Mr. Shaun and Canny. JC's managed to decide to come into the pits. He has hardly used those tyres. That was a very interesting choice by JC. It does mean when Gino, Berkey have managed to move up positions because of that. Interesting enough, JC taking those tyres, he's just come out just ahead of them. A wee bit more fuel. So maybe he decided to go for those tyres just to have a tyre advantage over his on-track competitors, because he wasn't catching Shaun or Canny. So he's decided to just get the better tyres, so the people he'll be battling with, he'll have that advantage over. So, very clever move from JC. If he left a lap longer, he wouldn't have come out ahead of these two drivers, he would have had to get past them, so it's quite a smart decision. Knew his pit stop window, and it was the right time to dive in and get in front. Gino has moved up now into 6th place. Ricky's lost out, and so is JC on the exit of the corner. Allows Gino to get the run, and Gino's up into the top 5 spot now. JC will be able to go full throttle to the end of this race with that much fuel, maybe. So that strategy from JC there has backfired. If he didn't go into pits, he would still be in that 5th place, but unfortunately he's dropped back to 7th. Moment for Berkey. Not allow Rocker to move up in the 7th place. So many of the drivers in this race have had significant incidences. Gino has had another one, and JC is up in the 5th place. Kenny is able to stay ahead of Shaun. Can I imagine Shaun will get that position with the extra fuel and the extra tyres? So we have about 10 minutes of racing in terms of the time left, although it is possible this race might have gone on a bit longer. It seems like it only gets lap 17, and it says there's 25 laps. Oh, JC loses out, and Gino's up in the 5th. There's a big impact. So now we'll see this battling pair of Berkey and Rocker coming up to the wounded GTR of JC. As such unfortunate. So unfortunate for JC, he was doing so well this race. It's going on for a 5th place finish, and it's now fallen away. I think Berkey and Rocker might be battling for a few laps longer. And we have Jason now. He's gone from battling with Jules and he's just gotten himself up in the 8th place, so he's overtaken JC. He moves on up in the 8th place. Will there be a counter move from Rocker into Indianapolis, or that's corner we're coming to now, whatever it's called. Should have a good opportunity to get a move done there. With the nature of this track, sometimes you can just be so patient with a move and take your time, and that's what Rocker's done. He's get himself back up in the 6th. These cars come through the sequence of corners at some rate of knots. So our leader James, our championship leader, is set for another win today. Just confirmed that this gap isn't closing too much. About 14 seconds, which it was last time I checked. Though Alex has picked up the fastest lap there with a 3:35.1. Amazingly quick these cars around here. Like nothing else we watch. Berkey is falling back there. So Jason has actually moved up in the 7th place because it seems an incident for Berkey has dropped him back past these drivers. So JC, our popular streamer, Midlife Racing, you can catch him on YouTube. Does great content from the driver's room. You can see many of her series covered on his channel. Berkey Baby as well makes a lot of awesome content for the community. Has an Instagram page called Donuts for Racing. You can find a lot of Gran Turismo related stuff there, Drivers Room related stuff as well. Also streams on Twitch. It's having a few unfortunate moments for this race, but he'll have better races and be able to make improvements as well. So JC is watching this battle between Jason and Rocker. Jason has been quite far back for long parts of this race, but coming into the closing stages he is definitely in for this battle for 6th place, which would be a great result. He's 11th in the standings at the start of this race, so he could move up quite a bit if he's able to get a move or two here. Hopefully just manages to do that. Further ahead though, battle for a podium. Canny, very quick driver, and Shaun in the Lexus chasing him down. Shaun's car is faster. We figured this might be happening, just looking at the tyres and the fuel. Probably another 2 laps remaining. That is so we have Rocker with JC now looking to get that spot, but he makes an error. That means Jason's now moved up to the next challenger for Rocker. Not sure what's going on at the minute, but I can run through what changes this might have in the championship. So we see Mr. Shaun moving up in the 3rd place, with his car being a lot faster, even though Kenny's got a run on him. We'll see how this pans out, but so far this means that Adventure Racing is he's going to be on 108 points, leading the championship. If Shaun gets this position and he's up in the 3rd, he will just about stay in 2nd. If not, he will fall to 3rd. Alex will jump up ahead of him, because those 2 are very close in points at the minute. This is Shaun. Just gets a wee nudge there from Kenny going into a braking. I wonder if Kenny will go for a move before the end of the lap. So we have our winner James naturally. Awesome Alex coming up next to finish. Not too sure why we did the race this way, but there you have it. This race is over yet, so Mr. Shaun might have 3rd place, Kenny might have 3rd place, but either way, at the championship standings, Shaun and Alex are tied on 65. Then Mung is on 47. He's in 4th place. Berkey's held position with 38. Fabro in 6th place, hasn't done many races. We have JC. He's moved up 1 spot. He's got 27 points. And Kenny is in 10th. So he moves up to 10th with this, or up to 8th with this result. He'll have 26 points. Jules, which we've seen, Jules has 9 points. Then it's Jason in 10th place, and he has 21 points. And Rocker is in 13th, he has 20. And AGT Racer 12th with 18. Murkoff in 13th, he has 14. And Jammy has 13 points, he's 14th position. Then Craig's in 15th, he has 6 points.